Are we back? Are we back? We might be back. The new Doctor Who spin-off, The War Between the Land and the Sea, has just aired, and by just I mean probably yesterday by the time you're watching it, and today we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about episodes 1 and 2. We're going to review them in spoilery fashion. I'll do some, bare bones thoughts first without spoiling. But let's do that all after the theme tune. Thank you so much for listening and watching. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name's Aiden. I'm usually joined by Connor, my co-host. This is a podcast, not just me talking. Usually there's two of us, but today Connor and I couldn't tee it up, but we will have a special little cameo from Connor coming up later in the show where he'll give his 2 cents on these 2 episodes. Solo show for me today. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at 50Doctor. If you are new here, if you've never seen us before, subscribe. And if you have seen us before and you've not subscribed, what are you doing? And if you have subscribed, thank you. All right, let's get into talking about the new Doctor Who spin-off. I am so excited.
50% podcast.
It's really weird doing this solo because it's like, you don't have the time to process. When Connor talks, I'm obviously trying to listen to what he's saying, but I'm also sort of prepping my next thing, or I could do stuff on my computer as I'm doing it. But, let's just see how this goes. Could be a bit of fun. I did think to give myself a bit of entertainment so that I'm not just sat here the whole time talking. I added some new sound effects to the soundboard, some fishy sound effects. So we've got... Just still going. It's still going. This is just a fish. It's still going. Still going. Yeah, that's just a fish flapping. Just a fish flapping on land. That's what happens when the Homo Aqua get to land for the first time. We've also got this, which I think kind of it's pretty self-explanatory. And we also have... I don't think it's saved. I think we have those 2 sound effects for today. Okay, cool. That's fun. Aiden, start talking about some Doctor Who stuff. So, The War Between Land and the Sea, we know it. It's a 5-part spin-off, currently only available in the UK, which is a stitch-up. And if you can't tell, I'm in bloody Australia. So, do the math, if you know. Do the math, and I watched this using mostly legal methods. I'm saying I didn't resort to the high seas to watch it, is what I'm saying. And you can probably figure out the rest there, but I'm not sure where the legalities lie of me doing what I did, so I'm just not going to say how. But all I'll say is the BBC got their viewership. They got their number from me. It's all thanks to me. Shut up, Aiden. All right, The War Between the Land and the Sea, Season 1, Episode 1, Homo Aqua. Barclay's ordinary life becomes a world of terror when an ancient species rises from the sea as UNIT fights for control. The summit on the Thames reveals terrifying secrets. I butchered that. And I'm sorry. That's also what I do here regularly if you've not seen this thing before. Okay, all right. Written by Russell T Davies, directed by my boy, the prodigal son of all things Doctor Who. That will be none other than
Mr. Holmes.
So right off the bat, like I said, spoiler free, this man can direct. Like, my God, give this man the keys. He might have 0 writing experience, but you know what? Fuck it. Just give him it. He gets it. He's got the sauce. He's like not a TV director that comes in and ticks the box. Like, I think sometimes TV directors come in and, I was actually listening to a great interview with Peter Capaldi today on a different podcast that I can't recall right now, so very sorry about that. But he was saying how, the difference between Rachel Talalay on his episodes and other directors was other directors would just come in and they'd shoot, a wide shot, a couple of close-ups, that sort of thing. Whereas Rachel came in with like a sense of like authorship and would just create really cool stuff. So that's what I feel like Dylan Home Williams does. His direction does not just stay in with camera choices or actors' performances. You can see like the cut. It's so specially cut. Like in this episode, there's a moment, without spoiling it, we're not at spoilers yet, where Russell Tovey's character Barkley walks through like a decontamination chamber, and you see it once, it sets it up, it's like standard scene, nice, and then you see it again in like a more rush scene later on, and it does like an Edgar Wright like just like really flashy things. I don't know. There's just so many small moments where I just thought, like, this guy has. I was talking to Crispy Pro briefly about this earlier today. This boy has the sauce, is what Crispy Pro said, and I have to agree. So talking about Barkley, let's talk about Russell Tovey. He's the man of the hour, isn't he? He's amazing, and we knew he would be. When he came onto our screens in Voyage of the Damned, we were like, Voyage of the Damned, this guy got it. This guy also has the sauce. And then he went on and obviously has done some really great things since. We all know him as well from Years and Years, one of Russell's shows, which if you haven't seen, you should definitely watch. And if you like this series, then you should definitely watch it, because the way the format of the show, the pace of the show is very similar. And if anything, I'd say Years and Years is probably slightly better than this. But that does not mean that I don't like this. I think this is really good. Should I have started with that? Probably. A bit all over the place right now. Weird doing it on my own. Okay, Russell Tovey, big win. He is fantastic, and by far, actually, I wouldn't even say by far, but he's one of the best things of the show. But there are so many things in this show that are the best thing of the show. Dunham Williams' direction.
Mr. Holmes.
Sorry, that is going to get very, very old, very, very easily. But then also Lon Balfe, the composer, his score is fantastic. I wouldn't say the script is up there as the best of the show, because I think it's a really strong script, both of them, both episodes, 2. I think they're pretty strong scripts, but I don't think they're the best thing. There's still like little lines and little nuggets here and there that we'll talk about in a jiff that pull me out of it. Kate's really good with what she's given, and she's given a lot more in this than she has been in Doctor Who. We see a bit more of her personal life with the relationship that they're forcing, with General Abraham, I think his name is. Yeah, so you see a bit more of them. That stuff's all really cool and really nice, and I'm here for it. But beyond that, there's, especially in episode 2, some scenes with Kate that just show me a side of her that I've never seen before. And I think it's like a vulnerability. It's like a layered moment. That I once again, won't spoil the scene, but I'm going to talk about it whilst I'm here. There's a scene where she's unsure about whether a decision regarding the ambassador is the right decision. And she's talking to like an English politician or something. I think she's in a hallway. And she just does this thing with her mouth. And she does it, I think, twice in the episode, where she just like twists her jaw. She's like, just like this. Like this. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like she's thinking and she's not sure. And we all do these like weird things when we're stressed. I can get a weird tick when I'm a weird like head knock back when I get stressed for some reason. It's like a flinchy thing. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I think Gemma Redgrave really brings a new layer to Kate in this. And I really welcome that, especially considering I watched her on, I think, the One Show earlier in the week, and she did not at all seem like she wanted to be there. And that's okay. I respect it. I wouldn't want to either if I had to do press like that. But she's killing it here, and I love that for her. So yeah, general thoughts on the 2 episodes. The way that I should have started this whole review is that I think they're really great. Are they the best thing in Doctor Who? No. Do not get me wrong. They are not. But are they pretty good? Yeah, they are. And they're more than pretty good. I'd say they're like getting close to great. I don't think either of the 2 episodes, but both the episodes are around the same ballpark for me. I know some people prefer episode 2. I enjoy both of them. I watched one of them at like 4:30 a.m. this morning, and I watched one of them at like 5:30 p.m. this afternoon. And I think I enjoyed them both the same for different reasons. Episode 2 has like your sort of slower paced your dialogue scenes, and I like to sink my teeth into that. But I also welcome like the fast-paced urgency that came with episode 1. And when episode 1 does find the time to slow down for a couple scenes, those scenes are quite important and quite interesting. And they pull the score out of those scenes, and they're silent. And so it's not a rushed episode, which I think is great and something that we've been wanting from this whole sort of Whoniverse era, and we've not been getting with everything. So many episodes seem to be quite rushed. I think the idea of the spin-off is really, whilst not the most original in the world, we've done this like war over the earth with, Silurians and Sea Devils in the past. But, and the pollution stuff, again, Doctor Who has also handled that itself before. But I think it does tackle it in a really real world way, especially in episode 2 when they start to talk about what this stuff all means, and the three circumstances or the 3 rules. That stuff I find really, really interesting, and I'm really keen to see where they take that stuff. What else we got? Okay, I think this is time we take off the old spoiler. Okay, I'll say this before we start talking about spoilers. I'll say, if I was to put these episodes, Children of Earth, Torchwood Children of Earth is the best of Doctor Who. It is the best Doctor Who has ever been, in my opinion. It's top of the crop. And then I'd say Doctor Who, series 1 to 4 of New Who. I'm going to do this just as a New Who thing. Doctor Who series 1 to 4 of New Who or something. I'd say that's maybe your B tier of TV or something. And that's rose-colored glasses on that 100%. And then, you maybe get to some of your messier stuff later in the new series around your C and sometimes D tier. I'd say this is up there in the B tier. I'd say this is up there with sort of this is the quality of that Doctor Who should be, because it's very rare that Doctor Who gives you an A tier episode. And that's why when they give you those A tiers, you're like, this is amazing. I want to show all my friends your heaven sense, or, I love 73 yards, that sort of thing. But most of Doctor Who sits around a B tier, and I'm okay with that, as long as we don't get too many C tiers, or D, or E tiers if we're going to talk about the reality bomb, the reality war. So, yeah, I'd say this is a B tier. I think this is Russell not at his best, but at a really consistent level of good, and McTighe's in there writing episode 2, of course. And yeah, I think it's solid TV. It's not the best TV, but it's entertaining. It's gripping. The episodes flow really nicely. I'm not bored throughout them at all, which I have been bored in a lot of Doctor Who lately, and this really kept me hooked. And I think what I enjoy the most is the slightly more adulty tone without being an out-and-out adult show. This is, I'm sort of trying to find a rating for this, but I don't think it's on the BBC website. That's a bit dog. Why they got to dog me like that? Jesus. But for me, this is the tone of Doctor Who that I like. And I understand that Doctor Who can't always have this super serious tone. And I don't think this does. This has great moments of levity and comedy in there. But generally, it's I like Doctor Who when it takes, the plot and the laws of the show seriously. It's not taking the piss out of itself all the time. I want a sense of humor in there. Don't get me wrong. And that's why I love sort of the tone of this show, because it takes itself seriously. It's dark, but it's funny. And this is the tone that I wish Doctor Who was. And I probably can never be this sort of dark and have, this many nighttime scenes and that sort of thing, because, you want a bit more of a kid's audience in there. But I don't think, this is close to what I wanted from Doctor Who. And it's a shame that, because I think this is where Russell's best writing is, and it's a shame that this is coming in what could be the back end of his era. But that's a conversation for another show. We're going to talk about spoilers now. We're going to go through the episodes roughly step by step as much as I can on my own. So spoiler, a warning. If you have not seen the episode yet, then go to bed. Go to sleep. If I have not put you to sleep already by just rambling on my own because that was a pretty stitched up intro. But let's walk through the episode. Homo Aqua is episode 1. So we start with like a boating act. There's a boat, and they're bringing in the fishies because they're gonna sell the fish. And by they, I just mean some like, what are they called? I was gonna say boat people, but in 2025, boat people has a very different connotation. So I'm gonna stay away from calling them boat people. Can I even say that? Too late. I already have. These are fishermen. That's what I'm looking to say. These are fishermen. And they're fishing, and then, they've got a big one. It's a sea devil. And that sea devil, that sea doggy's on land. And it shouldn't be on land. It's like this. That's the sea devil right now. That's that Homo Aqua. Just flopping around on the boat. Just flopping. Actually, just as a big scream. But yeah, then we get to know Russell Tovey a little bit. And it's like, who is this man? Instantly likable, instantly charming. And that's, I think, the Russell Tovey way. Barkley, they say his name is. He's got an ex-wife who, to start off with, does not come off too nice. And he's got a daughter who, pretty interesting. She's fine. She wasn't like annoying or anything like that, which sometimes Doctor Who can have annoying kids. I thought she was fine. But both of these characters, the key here is they both grow on me throughout these 2 episodes, which is awesome. So he's struggling to sort of, do that whole work balance thing whilst also taking care of his kid on weekends and sharing that custody, that sort of thing. And he gets a call up, and they're like, by Unit, because he's a desk clerk at Unit. He books the taxis for Kate Stewart, that sort of thing. And he gets a call up, and they're like, hold on, Alonzo, we need you here now. Turns out there was a problem with the whole Unit software thing, and they've basically got the wrong guy for the job. But he's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to get on this private jet. I'm going to fly through the air, and I'm going to go to the Mediterranean and have a nice little holiday. So there he goes on his nice little Euro summer beach vacay. Now, Euro summer here, it's looking good. It's this location filming looks fantastic. And as he's, flying through the air over to Euro summer, he's scrolling through the Twitter feeds, the Unit Twitter feeds. Actually, he can't access it because he doesn't have the clearance. So his mate over to his right, Johnny Boy, he's like, bro, you seen this? This is sick. Look at this fish guy. Look at the fish. Just look at the fish. I'm fucking losing it. This is really hard to do it on my own. Connor, please come back. So them fish be flapping in the videos, and he sort of confesses, he's like, I shouldn't be here. This is a bad idea. And then that bloke's like, oh my God, whoa. Stop looking at me, man. Don't talk to me. Eventually, I don't know why that guy didn't just rat out Barkley there and then, but it's not really a plot hole, but I don't know. I guess if your job was like security of the planet and some guy that shouldn't be there is there, would you maybe then go, hold on a minute, this guy might have some bad intentions? Luckily enough, he has some good intentions. And so, yeah, they rock up to this sort of seaside village in the Mediterranean, near the Mediterranean Sea. We get introduced to like the general, who's the guy from Children of Earth. Thank God he's back. I would have been lost without him. He has such a vital role in all these episodes. He's actually pretty cool in episode 1. He's just hardly in episode 2. And, they rock up and then they see the fishermen have hung up the sister species of the sea devils, the Homo Aqua, they call them. And they bring up a pearl, and that all of them have this pearl sort of in their neck, and they show it. They say there's no technology there. That's going to come back because they put the sea devil back into its rightful place, back into its neck. Now, instantly, I'm like, this design works. This sea devil design is so much better. And I like the sea devils in Legends of the Sea Devil. I think they look good. But these sea devils here, Oh, molto bene, fantastic. Wow. I think they look great. I love like sort of the creature version of them where they're like, we see them later in the episode. They got the spooky teeth and things like that. I think that's the best. Salt as a design, which we'll get to in a bit. She's all right. She's fine. But these spooky boys, they're good. The fish ones, they're a bit silly. They're the chunky fish, very silly. Very silly. Anyways, we sort of go on for a little bit about Barkley, his secret life. He's like, I need to talk to my family. We love that. It instantly, makes us think that this dude is a good dude. And that's what we like. We see them sleeping in the barracks, that sort of thing. Meanwhile, old Johnny Boy, who I'd love if I actually had his name up, but I can't put two and two together. Maybe he's I've got nothing for you. He could be anyone on this cast list. But him and his pal, they're looking at the sea devils, and all of a sudden, oh my God, you've heard the floor is lava. How about the floor is water, or the floor is mud, and oh no, now it's water. And they're like sinking. There's this great like horrifying shot of like, this is when this sound comes in handy. That's the sea devil like splashing through the water as it jumps and steals the deceased sea devil from the roof. Oh my goodness me, how good. And it sucks it down into the ground. And then it sucks down the two unit people, Johnny Boy and Johnny Boy's friend, in under the water as well. Wow. As well as their beach chair, which is not great in the Mediterranean. Mediterranean has some stony beaches. Was there myself earlier in the year. You need a deck chair, otherwise you get a sore neck, which I did. What is this podcast? Okay. So all the alarms are going off. Everyone's panicking, and instantly, they see that these guys have died and the sea devil has gone, and then they're like, "Oh, this is bad. This couldn't have gone worse. My good God." So then we see. Barkley sort of freaks out when they find out these guys have died. He freaks out, and I'm so glad he saw his first death, and I'm so glad that he had the reaction he had, because this show pivots on the idea that Russell Tovey's character feels like an everyman and a human. And so many times in TV shows, people see people die and they just don't even worry about it. They don't even care. They'll just have like a reaction. They're like, "Oh no, Johnny Boy." But he was like, "Oh no, Johnny Boy." And he was like freaking the holy heck out. And then I also appreciate the fact that the general then goes up to him and he's like, that was pretty tough. Pretty tough back there. Which is where Russell Tovey then confesses that he is just an everyday man. And I again appreciate the general's actions where he says, it's people like you that make changes and we need more of you people in the world. And again, that's another little through line that we'll also see come into episode 2, which is fantastic. He chills out with another one of the unit soldiers. Hopefully I'll learn these names come next week, because I'm not doing too crash hot here. And they talk about this moment of the doctor. And they are saying like, he shines, he's fantastic. He's magnetic. That was a good scene. It was a cute scene. I respected it. I did wonder if there was ever originally a scene in season 2, maybe in like the alternate ending of the reality war or something, and it had to be cut for like story reasons or whatever, where the doctor bumps into Barkley. I thought that could have been an interesting touch, but also like, I love the idea. I love when like, there's these little plot lines that we never saw. Like I love in Good Man Goes to War, where Lorna Bucket talks about her past experience with the doctor when she was a kid. I love that we'll never see that story. Big Finish, don't you dare. But I love that we never saw that story, and that it's just sort of like an open-ended thing where it's like that is something that probably did happen, but who knows? And so I do enjoy that this wasn't like, we never actually saw this encounter on screen. It's nice to hear about and hear them chat and do their thing. Have a chat. Okay, so then, they get an alert and they're like, the sea devils, the Homo Aquas, they're here. And they start having a chat with a very spooky Homo Aqua in the water. This scene rocked. I loved the translation stuff. Agreed. And like Russell Tovey's there, like making jokes. I just keep calling him Russell Tovey. Barkley's there. He's just making jokes. He's like, agreed. Yeah, let me guess. Got it right. Ha ha ha. That stuff's all sick. And like, all of a sudden they say like, we agree or something like that. Like we're watching you or something. And then they're like, hold on, that doesn't stack up. Why are they all? What's going on here? Next minute, there's these big reefs coming out of the ground. They're like rising up next to Westminster Bridge and all that stuff. Is that the name of the bridge? Westminster Bridge? I'm going with it. I don't live in London. I live in Australia. The only bridge I know is the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Kidding. I don't live anywhere near Sydney. But yeah, the Sea Devils or Homo Aqua make themselves very known to the world, and they're like, holy shit. So this is when Trinity Wells. I'm anti-Z-Dex. Trinity Wells, the woman, the myth, the legend, is back again. I was very happy to see her back. It had been 2 long years since we'd seen her in The Giggle. I was surprised that we never saw her again in season 1 or 2 with all these big world-ending threats. I don't think we saw her again. I don't think so. Someone will tell me. So good to see Trinity Wells back. She's a goat. She's like heart and soul, even in her anti-Z-Dex era. So that's great. Respect that. And so we got a classic RTD sort of news reader sort of montage of like all of them coming up all around the world, in Asia, in London, America, all that sort of thing. And this is where it all feels very years and years. And we jump in straight into some sort of diplomatic relations. The Homo Aqua declare that they want to meet with humanity, and so they have to build this like massive tunnel, which is also a spooky moment. This massive tunnel that connects into, I think it's called the Empress Hall, where they're gonna have their big conferences. So it's a spooky moment where they fill the big tank in the tunnel with water, and it's really quite spooky. And they have an ambassador elected. Russell Tovey, he has to tag along to this one. And so we have that initial interaction, and it's immediately quite spooky. So this is where we get the Chungus fish, we get the spooky sea devils, and we get introduced to Salt for the first time. And it is a moment when she walks out. I love how without any words, there's a lot more. I read this in one of the early reviews. There's a lot more like show don't tell in this, and you can just see on Russell Tovey's face. He's like, "Wow, this is a woman fish," and kind of into it. There is some weird fishy thing going on between them. Here's the flappy fish sound effect again, just for your entertainment. And you can see he's kind of got this like just this little sparkle, and there's no like instant chemistry there, but you can see he recognizes. He's like, "Wow, this is a beautiful creature here," and I worry of where this could lead us to, but that's where we are. So the ambassador, he's got Unit in his ear. This is where Kate comes in for the first time. She has a little tiff with Sergeant Abraham, which I thought was a bit mean, but whatever. But it's pretty cool. Kate has got to that point now where she really does command the screen when she walks on, and that's all down to Gemma Redgrave. She's awesome. We've got Shirley Ann Bingham back, and a few other new unit characters, and all of them seem quite interesting. It's fun to have like new faces mixed with old faces with Unit. It feels like an active sort of working environment where you don't always have the same people in at work every day, other than Gemma Redgrave, of course. She's a boss. But everyone else sort of chops and changes, probably depending on everyone's filming schedules. But that stuff's really cool. Maybe Lenny Rush will rock up again at some point, or Malcolm. Anyways, the humans are like, "We brought you a gift. It's a plant from the top of Mount Everest, so you never would have smelled it before. Get that smell? Everyone smells it." They're like, "Wow, smells pretty good." And then the fish people, the Homo Aqua, are like, "We brought you a gift. are dead fucking kids. Wow. They just drop their dead eggs on the floor. And you're instantly like, okay, this is proper. This is some dark stuff, and I like that. So it feels really confronting, and instantly you can see like this is not going to go as well as you'd think. I mean, you wouldn't think it would go well. We're in episode 1 of a 5-part series called The War Between the Land and the Sea. So if you thought that, idiot. So instantly chaos goes off. And they're like, we don't want to talk to this man. Who's this man? What is this man? We want to talk to that guy. Handsome Russell Tovey in the back. We have this great, like, I don't even think it's like a crane shot that like pushes in on him as everyone backs away. Again, Mr. Holmes doing his finest directing yet. And he's like, me? His voice breaks a little. He's like, you want to talk to me? And so that's when everything sort of starts to panic and go a little bit crazy. Everyone's like, we can't, this ambassador, he needs to be trained, blah, 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 blah. But you know what Barclay says, just because he's a good old bloke? He says, okay, he'll be the ambassador. No matter how scared he is, he wants to do it. I just realized that Barclay's name, it's got bark in it. Just wanted to put that out there for all those wondering. All right. So that was a cliffhanger from episode 1. And that was a really good episode. I think I sort of covered most of it. Sure. Which leads us into episode 2, as one would expect. Yeah. Episode 1, though, overall thoughts, I was hooked instantly. I thought really solid opener. Brought up sort of enough mystery for me. Yeah, we got to see some great direction, some great score, great sound design, great cinematography, great performances, and some pretty good writing as well. It really felt like Russell is back, and that is awesome. But yeah, that brings us on to episode 2, which is the Plastic Apocalypse. So this one, Barclay becomes humanity's ambassador when the mysterious Salt emerges from the tank. But his family's life is torn apart when Salt wreaks revenge upon all mankind. So this episode is pretty much the same gang, the same ensemble are all involved there. It's once again written by Dylan Holmes Williams. But this time, Pete McTighe rocks up to do some writing. And you may recognize him from Praxeus, Lucky Day, and Kablam. Yeah, so he's been around the block a few times with some, pretty just decent Doctor Who. Nothing that knocks your socks off and nothing that's offensively bad. I really liked Lucky Day on my first watch, but when I rewatched it, I was like, yeah, it's fine. And it didn't knock my socks off. Sorry, I cannot see out of my glasses right now. Okay, so the Plastic Apocalypse. This episode spends about 2/3 of it sort of in the Empress Hall. Now I've got stuff in my eye, Jesus Christ. Spends about 2/3 of it in the Empress Hall doing sort of like those diplomatic relations. And I love that stuff. I was sinking all my teeth into it. It was great. And we're sort of constantly mixing that back to him, like, in his hotel room with his family and seeing a bit of that family life. And like I said, his daughter and his ex-wife really sort of start to grow on me. And I think that is testament to the writing and the performances of them. They did a great job there. So immediately it's becoming clear that the way that humanity has been treating the waterways and the environment for many years has caused the Homo aqua's children to die. They're not being able to breed properly because of the pollution in the water. But B, it's also just, there's so much waste, like plastics and things like that in the water. That's sort of what this episode is about. It's about sort of telling us why. It's the big why of the series. Why are the Homo aqua so mad? Another big component of this episode is Russell Tovey sort of Barclay coming to terms with his newfound responsibility. Something he's a bit nervous about, but I love that he is very aware that his strength and the reason why Salt wants him, Salt played by Gugu Mbatha-Raw, wants to do these diplomatic relations with him is because she saw someone that actually cares, someone that was sort of human. He did the little sign of the cross when he saw the deceased Homo aqua. I'm getting used to calling them Homo aqua now. We're getting there. Maybe am I woke? Maybe. Yeah, so I love that he knows that's his superpower. And so when he's forced to, read scripts that UNIT and the politicians are sort of giving him to read in these big trial sequences, he knows that if he goes off script, if he's struggling with the script, he'll be at his best if he steps away from it. And he recognizes that Salt sees that. And I love that he takes that initiative and he does it himself. And it's not something we're waiting like 5 episodes for him to find his superpower. So I really do like that. Okay, I'm giving up on my glasses. I cannot see out of them. I've made them just dirtier and dirtier as I go. Yeah. So that stuff's really great. So we've got Empress Hall sequences and we've got Barclay's family sequences. We also get a scene of Kate Stewart's home life. Oh my God. Aren't her and Sergeant Abraham up to no bloody good? They're being saucy. Kate's there just like trying to chat and she's like, I had a shit day, pretty rough. And he's there like, yeah. Here's some fact about my dad. Let's smash. Kind of liked it. I was kind of here for it. I'm enjoying what Kate's doing. Whatever Gemma Redgrave's putting down, I'm eating up. It's pretty damn good. This is terrible listening. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay, so everyone's a bit stressed about this whole ambassador thing, that he's the new ambassador. And there's a great moment in there where they're like, before we start our relations, get us a glass of water. And it's kind of funny seeing the unit soldiers like sprint. They're like, holy shit, get the water. They got to get the water from the Thames and fill it up. And instantly you're like, I sort of know where this is going, which is kind of one of those things where I'm like, it's not a fault of the series, but yeah, it is one of those things where we're like, yeah, we all know the water's polluted. And I guess for me, for a few minutes there, I was just waiting for them to sort of get to what that punch, we knew what that punch was going to be. I was just waiting for that punch to land, which, yeah, isn't, I don't want to say it's a problem with the show. I'm looking forward to the outcome, I think, because the setup and all that stuff, I think, is pretty self-explanatory. Like, even if you didn't watch the trailers and someone just told you it's the people from the ocean versus humanity, you'd probably go, okay, I understand the problem here, the 2025 problem, as Russell might put it. So the Homo Aquas be like, drink that water, Barclay. And he's like, I can't do that. He thinks about it. The fucking dude has a sniff. He's looking in that like, well, could I drink this poo water? But he doesn't. Kate's like, fuck that, bro. So he doesn't. And so she's like, why should we then be expected to drink this water, Salt says. And she essentially then goes on to be like, we're dying from this. So what can you do? And so they all, part ways for the night to come up with plans of what can humanity agree on. All of humanity's leaders all meet up overnight. And Rosatovi goes back and, yeah, we can see him getting closer with his family. It's really sweet. But we can also see that there's some sabotage going on within the people in the Empress Hall. It's been leaked who the new ambassador is in Barclay. So that stuff's all sort of playing on in the background. We don't know fully where that's going to lead yet, but there's some stuff a-brewing. And so when we come back in for the next day of the meetings, and I should say there was an earlier meeting I didn't touch on before where it was at nighttime. They meet in secret just to say, this guy shouldn't be the ambassador. And I appreciate the whole thing of like, this is an everyman. This is a man that should be doing this stuff. And I think even at one point, Barclay says like, maybe there should be more people like me out there doing this sort of thing. I respect that and appreciate it. There's also a funny scene where Kate, when she comes to terms with the fact that he's going to have to be the ambassador, she gets him into a unit van and he says, "You're going to shoot me?" And she says, "I forgot my gun." And he goes, "Oh." And then she like pulls a gun out. That's a joke. It's very funny. I chuckled. Kate's got humor. Kind of liking Kate. You go, girl. All right, back to where we were. So they're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. By 2060, we're going to reduce our pollution into waterways by 50%. Naturally, Salt and the gang They're like, fuck that. We have to spend 40 more years choking and dying for you. And they're like, humanity's like, yeah. That's like all they got. They're like, yeah, you do have to wait that long. And so the Homo aqua would be like, no, we don't want that to happen. And humanity be like, fuck. Well, that's all we got. And so they go into this, the Homo aqua then go on to talk about their top 3 things that they want to have done in order for them to sort of have peace with this peace on Earth. I'm trying to read the soundboard, but now I don't have my glasses on, so I can't read. This is all I can read.
Kill yourself.
Sorry, inappropriate. Okay, so she's got 3 things that have to change. One of them is that all plastics have to be like stopped from the water. Right? I think that was one of them. Probably was. Another one of them is that they no longer cross waterways. So the sea devils will have full control over the ocean. That becomes their land. And the humans' land becomes land, right? You see what they're doing here with the title, the war between the land and the sea. So they're saying that not only can you not have access to oceans, but you cannot cross it by boat or by air. Essentially meaning that everything will immediately become region locked. Almost like this TV show where you can't watch it outside of the fucking UK without piracy or VPNs. And I did one of them. Possibly. I'm not doxing myself. Okay, back to it. So that's agreement number 2. And agreement number 3 is that the next meeting they do has to be at the bottom of the Murata Trench, I think it is. And if you don't know, that shit deep fucking down. That's so deep. As deep as, that. As deep as this. Sorry, that was a rough joke. So they're like, all right, we'll grant your wish. If you could stop all the pollution to the water now, would you? And humanity's like, yeah, of course we could. We can't, but we would. And so Homo aqua will be like, all right, we'll do it for you then. And here comes the plastic apocalypse. Every bit of human scum from the water is being thrown up into the air and thrown back onto the land. This sequence was a bit hit or miss for me. Obviously, the CGI doesn't look bad, but doesn't look fantastic. And I think some of the shots and the way that it all plays out is really exciting. And once again, Dylan Holmes-Williams doing a fantastic job with the directing. But it is still like a slightly goofy concept, I guess. Like there's, and I don't mind because Doctor Who's filled with that. And that's why I think this is a good tone for Doctor Who, because it is serious, but you still have these little goofy bits like this in there, So yeah, there's sort of these big action set pieces going on with plastic raining down everywhere. And it's getting crazy. And, people are actually dying from it because big bits of waste are being thrown around. Barclay's ex-wife and daughter are involved in a car accident where the driver dies as a result. So Barclay comes out, he saves his kid from like a big anchor dropping down. Didn't look as goofy as I thought. I don't know if you guys saw my preview pod, and I was saying I think that's going to look goofy, that sequence. The anchor sequence was actually okay. But what was not okay was when they cut to the next day and they're like, oh, wow, look, plastics everywhere. New York, plastic everywhere. Oh, look, the Titanic finally made it to New York. And there's just the wreck of the Titanic on the New York harbor. It's kind of funny. It's one of those Doctor Who moments where I chuckle, but every time I chuckle in like a oh, fuck me kind of way. Like, oh, we're doing that, okay? It's kind of silly and like, but I do think it's funny that the line of like, it finally made it to its destination. It's just a little bit goofy. Yeah, so that stuff all happens. They go, the Empress Hall sequence continues, which is when they bring up that third point in that the arrangements have to take place in Homo Aqua's land. Now they're going to meet in the water because they're sick of, being in this concrete jungle of breathing the humans' air and being exposed to all that light and all that stuff. So now they'll meet down in the bottom of the ocean where humanity cannot reach. We're going to have a bit of Ocean Gate going on, I'm afraid. And it's a good cliffhanger because they're like, Barclay, don't agree. Kate's like, Barclay, don't agree to anything. And Barclay's just like, fuck it. Okay, we'll meet you there. Go on then. See you there, cuz. Yeah. And that's the end of the episode. So it's all very, all very political, this latest episode. And I'm glad that none of the sort of messaging yet feels too wanky. Like, I think it's all coming across as it should. Like I said, the plastic apocalypse stuff was maybe a little bit silly, but the actual messaging, I think, is really working for me. I really do appreciate that. I think it's really cool. We're dealing with a lot of characters, which I think is a little bit hectic. There's a few too many of them. But the most important ones are being fleshed out enough. Barclay and his family. I love that scene between his family where he says, like, Salt was beautiful or something. And they're like, what the fuck? What is this? Like bestiality or some shit? I think Kate is being fleshed out enough because I don't think she needs to be like the center of the show. I'm happy with just getting her being there as like the important character that she is throughout the story, and then just getting a couple of little scenes of her in her personal life. I welcome that. I don't think we need to like constantly see like 24/7 with Kate. So that stuff's still working for me. But still, like, the general, he's in like one episode, then sort of just in the background for episode 2, and there is a lot of characters going on. It's hard to do these big political shows without that though, because there are so many factors, and Russell tries to be quite realistic with how many people are involved in it. So I understand where that stuff's coming from. And it's not a major flaw for me. It's just we need to see more of Salt, and I think we will. From episode 3, episode 3 is called The Deep, and we're going deep. We're doing Ocean Gate. And so I think we'll see some more of Salt, and I'm hoping episode 3 is where we really start to, bring Salt and Barclay together. That's what we need. Cool. All right. So yeah, like I said, I enjoyed both the episodes. Pretty much about the same. I'm going to give them both a 7.5 because I think they're both like almost an A, or maybe like I'd say they're an A minus. Both of them are an A minus. So 7.5, that works for me. But that's a lot of me talking. My mouth is so bloody dry. I need to drink some of that Thames water. You get me? So let's hear for a brief second from our pal Connor.
Hi, this is Connor H with a War Between Land and the Sea quick thoughts. Because I'm not in the studio. This is the first time I've ever been in the studio with Aiden. I'm just doing this video because worlds are colliding today and I couldn't be there. So, I did watch the first 2 episodes of War Between Land and the Sea. Don't ask me how I did it. VPN. Aiden, bleep that out if I'm going to get in trouble for saying it. I watched them both today and I enjoyed them. I thought they were pretty good. There are, of course, people on Twitter who are acting like this is the second coming of Christ and it's the greatest thing ever written. And people are saying things like, whereas it's right and being with RTD. I'm not going to lie, I definitely thought that a few times throughout it. But I guess my grand takeaway is it's only 5 episodes. We're 2 episodes in. I'm getting a little bit worried about, because it's going to be this whole Barclay and Salt relationship thing going on. And part of me is wondering if they're going to have enough time in 3 more episodes to give that enough development. As for right now, I think it's sort of working. Is it bestiality? Potentially. I also think, I read in an advance review, and sadly I have to agree, it almost seems like they have too many characters and not enough time. And that's a little bit concerning. Again, there are 3 episodes to come, but I almost feel like episode 2 was better than 1. And maybe they kind of knew that, and that's why they did the whole 2-episode release thing. If I were them, this is the last piece of Doctor Who content that they have in the can. If I were them, I wouldn't have done that. I would have just done like a 5 week release, but we're not having that. So such is life with that, I guess. Direction by Dylan Holmes Williams really impressed me, and also the score also really impressed me. If Murray Gold is not coming back, I think this guy should take home. I think his name's Lorne. I thought it was actually really impressive and a good and different direction. And I'm still confused. I mean, Kate and Unit are hardly even in. Well, Kate's unit team are hardly even in the first episode. I do wonder if this is really even a unit spin-off. It seems more like a Sea Devil spin-off. Funnily enough, the Sea Devil's design actually didn't piss me off as much as I thought it would. I'm actually getting used to it. And I guess the topics that they're bringing up are topics that are quite, as Russell would say, so 2025. And it is, in a sense. But I think the biggest problem for me is it's not really the most original storyline in a sense. We've even had it done in Doctor Who before. I'm enjoying the slow dialogue scenes in the hall. I think that's good, and if they can continue to do that, then that's interesting. The Titanic made me cringe, and I just think that's completely unnecessary. The whole storm at the end was a bit weird. It didn't look great, which is funny because it's the Disney budget. If this was just back to BBC, I would let it go, but yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting show. Only 3 more episodes to go. And so far, I think it's gone pretty good. I would give the first episode 7, and I would give the second episode 7.5, and you can write that into your notes. I think it's going to be a pretty good show, but at the end of the day, unfortunately, I feel like with a spin-off, you could have really done anything, and it's it kind of does feel like it's just going to be its own standard thing. And part of me at times was Russell thinks that he's doing Children of Earth 2, and he's not. And even though it hasn't finished yet, I got a sneaky suspicion that it's not going to be as good. But hey, either way, thank you for watching. I will be back in the studio next week. Until then, I'll send you back to our beautiful ginger co-host, Aiden Green. Sending it back to you, Aiden. Peace and love.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Connor, for that glorious cameo. How bloody good. So yeah, Connor liking it. Seems sort of around the same mark as me. We've both got 7.5s in there. Connor gave episode 1 a 7. So yeah, I think we're off to a really strong start. I'm excited to see where this goes. I do constantly find myself sat there with the whole feeling of where was this for the last 3 years, And I hate to be that guy because I just want to appreciate it for what it is. But in this sort of Whoniverse era where, the Disney Plus stuff's dead, you do have to sit there and go why didn't we get this quality? And like I said, we're not asking for much. We're not asking for the best show of all time. This is not the best show of all time, but it's really good. What happened to the 2 seasons that came before this of Doctor Who? It baffles me. It confuses me, but I'm just going to appreciate this show for what it is. And it's much more of the Doctor Who than I like. So I welcome it. I love this more human, down-to-earth, dark approach to the series, and I'm so excited to see where it goes. I think you'll probably hear from us next about this time next week, because I think we were going to try and do a preview pod for episodes 3 and 4, but I don't think that's going to work out schedule-wise. Like you saw, we couldn't even get ourselves in a room together to record the reviews. So we'll try and do one before the finale, though. That would be really cool. We'll try to do a preview pod next week after episodes 3 and 4. But yeah, if you like this rambly old random ass episode of our pod, please consider subscribing. I'll be much better next week when I have Connor back. This was so much talking. If you're still listening, you just listened to so much of me, and I'm so deeply sorry. As deep as the next episode, Doctor Who. That's how of War Between. That's how sorry I am. But yeah, really stoked with where things are at. Please consider subscribing if you have not already. Back in the studio with Connor next week. It's going to be awesome. And let's just enjoy this ride of a spin-off. It's been, 8-9 years since the last one. Let's just enjoy it. It is great to have a Doctor Who spin-off. It's nice to sort of take a break from Doctor Who, but still be in that universe. So I'm enjoying that side of it very much. Cool. Enough of me talking. And yeah, I'll see you probably next Monday or Tuesday. Actually, just because it's an ongoing meme, I'm going to add this. Just to flex my own life. It's my birthday tomorrow, and Connor has ditched me on the birthday pod, as you can see. So Connor always says, Aiden, why are you playing Sad Happy Birthday? So I thought, you know what? Today feels like the right day for me to be playing Sad Happy Birthday because he's ditched me on the birthday pod. So yeah, we'll play this out to some Sad Happy Birthday. See you next Monday.